Hello everybody, and this special hello goes to my teacher and my supervisor Yusuf Tamir. I would like also to thank you so much. You know why? Because before now I couldn't record myself in such a way because I didn't know, but now I know, and that's a plus to me, and I really owe it to you. Thank you so much. And I really hope you enjoy this presentation. So let's get down to business. Classroom discourse and teacher development. As far as teachers are concerned, this is actually a vital area of concern, especially in second language learning environment. Teachers need to reflect on their classroom practices, and by way of recording their lessons, and they can locate the places where they went wrong and try to correct, overcome, and develop their performance. And the result will be amazing, really amazing, as research promises. We can establish an optimal learning and teaching environment. But how can teachers develop and improve their performance? This is a legitimate question that every teacher asks. But luckily, we have an answer for that. Cheer up. We can do it by going through the following 4 key aspects. First, by improving question strategies. Second, by making the discourse more communicative. Third, by improving interactive decision making. And fourth, by dealing with reticence. We're going to look at each one of these very carefully and at length, and we're going to discuss them so as to make the best import of them. So we start by improving question strategies. Before we see what are these strategies, we need first to ask, what's so important about questioning? Well, the importance of it lies basically in its being the main concern that occupies the greatest majority of the teacher's time, and it is for this reason that teachers need direly to improve their questioning skills. Teachers basically ask questions to elicit responses from the learners, or to confirm understanding, to see whether the students have grasped or not the content that has been taught, or to provoke thoughts and open fields of thoughts for students to think and muse over, or to prompt and encourage them to speak. Questions fall into 3 main classifications. We have form questions, that is to say whether it is a closed or open question, a yes or no question, or a WH question. Closed questions are usually easy to answer and for which no wait time is required, and this is evident. This does not mean that open questions should be neglected. No, they are as important or even more important than closed questions, and teachers need to diversify their questions by asking both forms of questions and not restricting themselves to just one form. Then we have the second type, which is content questions. The focus here is that the teacher need to ask questions that address students' opinions, and since learners, when asked questions about their opinions, they phrase longer and elaborate questions, so this is more incentive to ask content questions. The third and the last type of questions is the purpose questions. The focus here is that the teacher need to ask, we need to distinguish, by the way, here between those questions for display and those for communication, or simply between referential and display questions. Display questions. Apart from this distinction, I just want to mention something important in this regard, and it is that teachers should behave as they don't know the answer. This is more convenient, or ever try to ask questions which They apparently have no answer to inquiring about learners' cultures and background. This is a very good thing to know, because you give the impression to the learners that you don't have the answer. Making the discourse more communicative is our next point in this presentation. What we mean by making the discourse communicative is principally to make it seem like that in the outside world. But despite many made attempts to achieve this end, this particular aspect is not yet fully developed and remains on the whole a wild goose chase. Because little is being communicated inside classrooms, the teachers takes the lion's share of the communication that takes place in the classroom. The following aspects have been identified as features of communicative classrooms. First off, we have referential questions, as they open more debate and elicit longer and open a window for communicative opportunities on the part of both the teacher and the learner. Content feedback is the second feature, where the focus should be on the meaning rather than the form of the answer. If it were otherwise, students will refrain from making contributions lest they make mistakes. Next, we have wait time. It is the time between asking and answering. Usually it is no more than 1 second. If this were increased just to 3 or 4 seconds, both the quality and quantity of the learner's contributions will increase. Isn't it right? The fourth and last feature of communicative classroom is student-initiated talk. Students can initiate talks by asking questions, by requesting clarification, or by confirming checkpoints. When this happens, it means that they are engaged in the learning process, which is amazing again. Now let's move to the next point. Now let's move to the point before last, and it is enhanced interactive decision making. In this respect, we examine how teachers' decisions can cause them to depart from their lesson plans and be quit of the routine that normally characterize the teaching profession. We can establish the following principles of interactive decision making. First, to start with, it should serve the common good. How? If, for instance, the teacher came to notice that a bunch of learners had a similar problem, he will depart from the lesson plan and help the learners overcome their problem. And this wasn't planned beforehand. Second, teaching should flow with the moment. You don't need your lesson plan anymore when a window of opportunity opens that is so important that you need not miss the chance to talk about what's going on. Then sometimes teachers further the lessons when they perceive that something should be modified in order to better a certain activity. For instance, the change of a group work activity to an individual activity. And it should be noted that this was not originally in the lesson plan. Next, the classroom is a melting pot of different learning styles, and the teacher needs to accommodate to each one of these styles by accommodating to these learning styles, and this may result in departure from what was planned already. Next, learners have to be encouraged to make contributions at a particular moment. And it is the job of the teacher to involve his students in the teaching process. The last point here is that the teacher should distribute the turns evenly across students. He should ensure that everybody is contributing to the learning process by getting those who are silent to talk. And we are going to see in a moment how it is done. It's here. dealing with reticence. The final point of discussion that is related to teachers' development is how do you get those students who are unusually silent to talk. This is how to do it. First, you have to lengthen the wait time after you ask a question, so that you give ample time for learners to reflect and organize their answers. And the research tells us that decreased wait time increases students' anxiety. And research tells us that decreased wait time increases student anxiety. Isn't this enough a reason to extend wait time and give students enough time to prepare their answers? It's not about time's money anymore. It's about how learners get to learn. We need to ensure that learning takes place. Second, you improve question strategies, and I think we have fairly talked about this before when we said that the use of referential questions should outweigh that of display questions. Third, a teacher should be pleased not with just one answer, because accepting a variety of answers and asserting that no one right answer is found really serves as an initiative to get learners to make even greater contributions. Then the fourth point, and in addition to this, interaction in peer and group work has been found to be very effective, since it allows rehearsal in low risk and high gain situations, because students, and this is a tendency, it's really a tendency, students they feel more comfortable giving answers in a group than individually because they feel secure. Fifth and last, the feedback should be focused on the message rather than the language. Students give more lengthy responses and contributions when they know that they won't be corrected, but unfortunately teachers are not interested in the content as much as they are in grammar and pronunciation. Behavior like this, they put learners in such a greater pressure to make contributions, and eventually they may refrain from contributing at all. And this is not desirable. We want learners to make contributions and to be involved in the process of learning, right? To wrap this up, I'd like to say in sum that to develop teaching practices as ones that would create the most optimal environment for teaching and learning, teachers should make sure that these points that we have talked about up to now are met. If otherwise these remained unmet, I dare say that you are not going anywhere with your teaching. So this is it. Sorry to have kept you this long. Thank you, teacher, and thanks is also extended to everybody who patiently watched this video. Thank you very much.